is a historic little
What do you want?
event. Oh, right in front of here.
Okay.
Are you okay?
Like being Florida. He always looks better than me. No.
We already have a guy who crawls on walls and spins webs. We already have a guy who's the god of thunder and a fellow who's got green skin and he breaks through buildings up and so forth. But since some viewers might not speak fluent Skrull, we'll use our mighty Marvel language converter. As a matter of fact, our sales have tripled in the past 3 years, which is quite a publishing phenomenon.
Slower, but still got 7.
No, you promised we were going to take this very serious.
Oh, hey, come on, I love this stuff for my youth.
I mean, Mike.
Spidey's 30th birthday. What do you get Spider-Man for 30?
Them in countless horror movies they usually referred to as the dead who walk. Now, what can they possibly have to do with Tony Stark or his armored alter ego, the invincible Iron Man?
I have a good feeling about this.
Yeah.
Peter's the guy building it. I just follow along, you know.
What a great team. You got a great guy.
He's just terrific. I never would have done this. When my contract ended, he said, hey, Stan, now you're free. Let me build a company. If he could do it for me, imagine what he could do for you guys.
It's going to be the synergy.
200 to 300 fan letters every day, probably as much as the Beatles. I spend most of my time reading the mail and quite a lot of time answering it. During this time, I think I've learned a lot about what young people think. More importantly, I think I've learned a lot about what young people are.
Wouldn't want to change anything about me.
Gee, you're definitely not the same guy I've been writing about all these years. My guest is somebody who is not only an old friend and associate, but one of the genuine talented movers and shakers of our business. Roy Thomas. So I figured, okay, if we have to do a team, that's fine, but we're going to do it differently than anybody else does it. So instead of a lot of good guys who always won at the end and they were brilliant and they were superior to the villains and they never did anything wrong, we came up with the Fantastic Four, who inevitably did something wrong.
Paid dividends down the line. A lot of people seem to be short-sighted on a lot of things. So,
how does it feel to know that someday in the future they'll talk of you as the man who popularized three-dimensional perspective webbing? I mean, boy, that's a distinctive trait. Nobody else will have anything like that.
Since moving to work at Marvel's production center in California, Lee has acquired a home with a pool, a pair of sunglasses we never saw him take off, and a position as an elder statesman with the folks back at the Marvel offices in New York. Stan still contributes to special issues.
And then another thing you might jot down, Jim. On page 13, he had his helmet on, and Believers. I'm Stan Lee, co-author of How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, and creator of Spider-Man, the Incredible Hulk, and a whole caboodle of other comic book characters that my legendary modesty prevents me from mentioning. Now, I'll be your host and guide as we journey together along the rambunctious road to comic book artistry, which is to say, it looks like we're stuck with each other for the next little while. What is it that you're known for?
You gotta be kidding.
I am, of course.
Well, originally I created Courageous Cat.
That was that animated show
an
you
animated
did, right?
cartoon. But I think when I was 18, I tripped across a character called Batman.
How do you pronounce it?
Batman. B-A-T-man. It was called Batman by Robert Kane. In 1939, when I was 3 years old, Stan. That's when I created the Batman. I'm now 42 on my good days. Anyway, Batman is my claim to infamy.
Yeah, I always thought it was the cat things to think about because you always want something different. I remembered we had a character called the Human Torch who was very popular, and he was a guy. I mean, it's an everyday occurrence. He could burst in flame and fly. So it occurred to me, why not do the opposite? So that was Iceman.
Hey, true believers, I'm Stan Lee, and I want to tell you about the most fantastic sweepstakes ever. How would you like to work with me for a day as editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics? Just enter the Kmart and Marvel Comics Watch and Win sweepstakes this May and June. Get your Watch and Win scratch-off game card at participating Kmart restaurants and win one of 18 million discounts on Kmart food and drinks, plus 2,500 other prizes. Just watch the Marvel Action Hour and answer my questions. Details at participating Kmart restaurants.
Bingo, everyone. Here we go. StanUARY. We're marching along. A lot of progress today. A lot of fun. This is a message for our co-creator, Justin Ori. Okay? It's inhumane to draw this many Inhumans. Here's the funny thing. We never knew Inhumans was this much of a failure until Marvel literally went like all in. People complain about the Eternals. The failure of the Inhumans, it's glorious. It's monumental. And previously on StanUARY, we did Maximus, the brother of Deadbolt. We did the Inhuman. So now with Gorgon, because he gets his own freaking page / prompt, we have all your typical Inhumans. We have, oh my God, Black Bolt, Medusa, Trident, Crystal, Lockjaw, Karnak, the brother Maximus. We got two Medusas here. Now we got Gordon, who's like the bodyguard. So here we go. Thank you, Justin. Thanks for giving us maybe the first hooved character, the first hooved superhero in the Marvel Universe. Yeah. Which we're going to make a point here. Right, it's hooved. We'll call him a hero. What madness Justin designed for us here. It kind of pisses me off. By the way, drinking some Bang iced tea. So we are delayed nearly across the board on everything. My printer went down today. So with that being said, if the printer is down, I cannot make my paper because I only kind of draw on when I do my comic book work on custom paper. This is a long-standing AKA pad policy. And as you can guess, in no way is it a cheap effing printer. So there you go. We have that. I tried printing paper for a for some Instagram live streams, Instagram and TikTok live streams. Failure. And then I was like, maybe it's the paper because I bought a different grade of paper, and I'm like, some of those that's printing. That stuff can be the cause. I've been dealing with printer and paper for a very long time. A little bit of an expert, other than just drawing. I'm a big printing guy. So I said, let me just go to the art store. We'll do a run of pages for Uzi Susie and Harry Penn, 2 of the upcoming mini comics. Uzi Susie issue 3 needed it, and Harry Penn issue 1 needed it. Not to mention Uzi Susie supplemental material needed it. And zip. So very frustrating. I didn't let it soak up my day. I can usually identify when something's on printing software versus like software versus hardware. And definitely hardware failure, hardware error. Welcome to my effing life. Welcome to my world. Nothing is ever the same 2 times in a row for me. Not really. I usually build things that are pretty consistent through time. But hey, I'd like to cry. But over here, we got a little bit more info too. This is the first panel too. I completely left out. We have the Gorgon this guy did appear on network television with which I'm going to watch because I refuse to believe just with the cast of characters, and I read up on some of the talent. around the show today. I fail to believe that the Inhumans TV show is as bad as everybody wants you to believe. So we're going to do a little podcast on that. Speaking of which, recorded my first episode of the year since COVID, which is about the Netflix stock drop. Yeah, I love it when that becomes the subject of a freaking podcast. But anyway, yeah, so yeah, we doing a lot of MCU for this sketchbook challenge too, but you know, we're going to do the like classic, I call it, take on hair here. We're going to give him, since he has black hair, the real life actor guy, but we're going to make it a little bit blue, you know, to simulate dot matrix printing. But yeah, we're just making progress here. We're just a bunch of kids drawing comic book stuff. Don't mind us. But I had to take a little bit of the initiative, take the bull by the horn, so to speak, and do some extra work before. Everyone, we have our first bot. Samuel, what's happening, dude? Samuel McMillan. But anyway, next up, though, we're going to have Condor. Just Imagine, Stanley presents Sandman, then Spider-Man. So we're going to do a run. I'm going to try and, I keep saying it. I'm going to try and do 3 tonight. But we'll see. We'll see. We're just going to keep going with this, okay? We're not slowing down. We're not crybabies. We understand that life happens. So much life has happened for this sketchbook challenge. So much. But I dig it. I dig it. I dig the challenge. Ever since I found the right orange, I've been using it now every single time I touch yellow. Which is funny because when I started everything here, I had yet to, just with the way how the paper absorbs, like nail down the best orange. We need a picture of our guy up because he is predominantly brown. Look, he's like very exciting colors, by the way. Like, oh my God. Justin must have been smoking triple bongs when he came up with this one. Quadruple. He must have been on a bong fest, bong super party. I mean, I don't blame him. Boys got a party. But you got to party that hard when you're coming up with StanUARY prompts. Now, look, the challenge of an illustrator, or like the purpose of an illustrator, is you have to sell the assignment. Whatever the assignment is, you have to make it work. Like, that's it. Make the assignment work. So that doesn't always mean things are easy. So the illustrator in me fully accepts this challenge. I think the friend in me rejects it. But we do thank Justin. We give Justin a huge thank you. He created a Facebook group. He came up with the idea. Like, we really owe StanUARY to him. We will never take that away from him unless there's some blowout argument. Which you can't put past me because I am volatile. Little spark plug over here. And the reason why we're crapping on, not really crapping on, but the reason why we do have this running commentary now when it comes to the Inhumans, it really is because it's just the idea that Marvel, through Marvel Corporate and Marvel Comics, did their very best to wedge these characters down your throat. And I love it. I think the people have spoken. Like, there's no... I mean, people always like Black Bolt. Black Bolt was really... It was like Black Bolt and Lockjaw. Like, that was it. Everything else, universally, it's just agreed upon. Like, it can kind of go when it comes to the Inhumans. Let it go. And we're just coloring. And we're probably going to just color Condor too. Condor, though, over here has a kick-ass villain. I love Condor's villain design for that animated movie. So we will be paying homage to that. There's also a very hot bikini fight that I'm going to draw. Because, comics, men, perverts, you guys know everything about that. The real market for comics, horny men. People must be like, Pete, you can't say that. Children could be watching. It's so funny too that, like, through the course of the day, just because I've just really been dealing with so much, like, still packing for the move and things like that. But, like, as soon as I start being productive and doing a stream and doing a podcast and kind of, taking notes for videos, as soon as I just start that process, holy shoe balls, I just feel better. It's like the sleeper has awoken. I just feel good. There's just so much brown here. And it's almost like the shades that Crayola has. Like, I guess they do lend themselves to shadowing when it comes to, like, like some gradation when it comes to color selection, but some of it's a little too dark and just like, like, it's just not 100% there. But we'll try. Because I always try and go for, like, what's really light first. See, like this one. This one works so well. I wonder what color this is. I haven't used this one before. And the whole point of drawing the actor, Emma right? Emma, E-M-A. How you pronounce that? But the whole reason why he's here is to really kind of just prove the point that these are fantasy characters, and they kind of went maybe visually, even though I refuse to believe that show's as bad as people say it is. Like maybe for the show they went a little bit too easy. Like they could have went deeper in on the fantasy side. This is like a little bit of a portrait too, which I like. Because I guess like we also did Paul Rudd. We did like a little nod of Paul Rudd for the Ant-Man prompt. Right, we did an odd to Paul Rudd earlier. Look, we're even calling out Marvel editorial for not doing anything with the character for 56 years. Stay with me. 56 years. You go through this character's biography and you get almost nothing. And the last major thing that looked like that happened to him was that he got shot in the spine, which really means they're out of ideas. Which should be a little bit hilarious because, we wanted characters to be rich with history. We want them to be dynamic. What was that? Okay, nothing big. Sorry, just checking what is on the security cameras, everyone. Agent Pat is on the case. These lighter grays, though, they're really good with just pinpointing some additional shadowing. So I kind of always go back, even like off camera, like I'll go back with some of my grays and just to add additional highlighting and shadows and fades and stuff like that. Really good. The light gray for the Crayolas might be their best marker. But he's just brown on brown on brown. And it's just like, it's a little bit too much. But we're calling out, look, we have a Marvel editor right here. That's just sad that the company has failed this character so much. Not just the franchise, but this guy specifically. Because I've read his whole bio. I've read the entire Wikipedia because I couldn't think of anything. And I've read the entire Wikipedia to be proven wrong. And then it's like, no. The thing I hate the most to be proven right. Bingo bango. But we are getting there. Yeah, Ron. Ron has pizza. Ron has a lot of pizza outside. He has a whole big 1/2 of a slice all chopped up for him, ready to go. Everyone, we do have Journey Sosa in the house. Okay, so what are we doing for? Yeah, I feel like we can kind of go for almost just like a gray. Yeah, I haven't really done much when it comes to like a gray background yet. I just feel like maybe we can kind of just make this thing look dreary, like the beginning of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Just gray and London-y. Just so we get like a little bit of a pop of texture here. Yeah, like keep in mind, texture isn't always just the application, meaning like, you know, you would apply a wood texture or like a concrete texture. Yeah, texture is also color, and you have to think about it that way. But that's what these sketchbook challenges bring out at you. They bring like another level of thinking and challenges. And dare I say it, fun. But here we go. I mean, we got a good page. We really do. A lot of inside jokes. So my whole night too, it's like it's really going to be controlled by a trip to Staples. If anyone out there is keeping track. And maybe what we should do here is, yeah, I'll use the brown. This light brown here is just awesome. I dig it. The Inhuman. We got to make a play on that. We have to make a play on Justin's higher than the kite prompt selection here. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Justin's just like a I feel like we gotta give him the benefit of the doubt. He might be like a huge Inhumans fan. Like maybe he just like watched that show and was like, oh my god, like, and then he's just been reading the comics like ever since. Cool. I like you people. I like it. It took me 18 attempts to just sit down and do a coloring session with all of you. I dig it. I think we're funny here. I think we have some. I'm going to add some. Maybe add a couple shadows. Just do some shadowing here to pop out some of these word balloons. Pop out some of these letters. I mean, we even have a corporate ABC logo. Just breaking all of our own little trends here. Got debris floating. This guy is such a... His character needs so much work that, you know, we're even breaking the panel border onto the physical page, which we've only done once or twice leading up to this. But we're also doing it for the Condor because I just said to hell with it. This one was a necessity. I need a little bit more space. So coming up, Condor. We have Condor, skate park. I don't know what I'm doing here yet. Villain, bikini fight. Let's go. Everyone, thanks for hanging out. I love you.